guys, it's Monday morning. I'm tired already. Yeah, off to see Jasper again today at that job. We're going to go and check on that flashing that we did on Saturday. And I'm just at the garage, getting myself a coffee and blowing up the tyre. I'm mixing it up now, the location so I'll blow up the tyre. So I don't want to keep annoying the neighbours every day. So I think I might start blowing up the tyre at famous landmarks around the UK. Right, let's get to work. See you soon. Okay, so we did this pebble dash on Saturday, as you may recall. It was done in a very risky way. Just checking back, it's still quite wet, still quite green, but I can't see any issues with it. It's Monday morning, still looking pretty good, but yeah, you can still, it hasn't properly cured yet. Still get your fingernail in there. Good morning guys, how you doing? We are back on it today. We did the pebble dash job on Saturday, then we went back in and we did some inside stuff there on the Monday, and I got to check out the pebble dash. It's looking pretty good. Quite a few comments on that video, like usual I guess, but maybe just a few more on that one, in the way that was done and went up in such a quick fashion. So then we did some stuff there on Monday. Like I say, it wasn't worth recording, it's radios on and stuff, and it was just a bitty job inside, bit of dotting dabbing, bit of tacking, bit of setting here and there, red grit, blah 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 blah. It wasn't that good. But today we're in for a little builder of mine called Kieran, a bit younger than me. He's been going quite well. I like him, been doing quite a few bits and pieces for him over the last sort of like year or two. So that's where we are going today. He is one for getting nice jobs for us, in the sense that they're good for recording because there's so much going on in them. So we'll have to get there and see what it's like when we do get there. Yeah, he's renowned for just being rushed off his feet, really. There's lots of things to tidy up. So we'll just get there. We're here just waiting for Shay. His car is going to have the mechanic around to it today because the heater's not working, and at this time of year you really need your heater working. So I'm picking him up today and we are going in together. So I'm just waiting for him to come out and we will go to the job after we've gone to the garage and got ourselves a nice coffee. What's the day today? Tuesday morning. It's Tuesday morning. Right. See you soon. Okay, so here we are inside this kitchen that needs to be plastered and made to look all nice. At the moment it doesn't look that nice, but I'm sure we can do it. Look at this texture we got, this old Artex. If that pattern has a name, I don't know what it is. It doesn't really look like a pattern to me. The ceiling is a broken lever, which doesn't look too bad. That looks much more of a DIY attempt at a pattern to me, so I'm not sure what's happened here. Quite a few bits and pieces going on. We could talk about this for ages, to be honest with you. That has, the Artex was broken where we're back into the original plastered ceiling there. Apparently there was a very hot halogen light there. I was a little bit worried there might be some lime wash or distemper paint there, but I've been over the ceiling with an old trowel and given the high points a bit of a scrape, and it is all very, very, very solid up there. The guy, when he's done all this Artex, he must have knocked the Artex up really thick, and it's been painted properly, and it's actually really, really quite a rock solid example of the stuff. It's really hard to knock these lumps off, so you could be here for ages trying to sort that out. So I think what we're going to do in this case is we are going to put a thin coat of bonding over all this using large trowels. We use large trowels quite often. You may wish to use a Derby or one of the new flexible trowels using this bonding over here and just kind of average it out. So yeah, there's plenty to be getting on. It's very fiddly, but we've been given a decent amount of time to be able to sort this out. So that's what's going to happen. It's really quite You know what I mean? It's annoying in the sense you've got all this flat area and just sporadically we've got these really, really deep. I don't even know what to call them. Trail marks. They've been put on purpose there. So I think the initial thing is we'll get some scrims, some fibre tape up on the cracks as necessary where the electricians cut in. And then we're going to sort of like get our bonding agent going first of all, I think, over everything. But we're going to put the scrims up first so the bonding agent actually bonds the scrims to the surfaces. And in this case, as like usual for us, we are bonding or using our stabilising agent, which will be polyvinyl, okay, PVA adhesive, which is quite regular stuff and will be fine in a situation like this. There's other bonding agents you can use. There's videos I've done about them, but we kind of use PVA very, very often. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to scrim up and then PVA everything. And we need a sweep up. It's just an awkward little room to operate in. Right, let's crack on, do that. Names they call things. So this time we've got some monster scrim. What did we have last time? It was extreme scrim, wasn't it? So Tigris tapes. Tigris, monster scrim, and look, there's a monster there. So Tigris, isn't that Greek mythology? Is that for a terrible monster? Yeah, Tigris, I'm sure, is a Greek monster. So there you go, from ancient Greece mythology. Okay, so here there's been a little bit of water damage. So what we've done, we've chopped out. There was a hole there, so we've chopped it out so it's a lot more square. And what we're doing, we need to patch this up with a fresh bit of plasterboard. Now, I'm using a couple of bit of bands, and this is what I call putting a stitch in. So all we're doing here, see, we've already put one in here already. I've got a screw in here and a screw in here. So here we can't really get a screw in very well, but we can rest it where the old plasterboard went on top. And then with my trusty impact driver, and a screw that I should have got ready before we started recording. All we need to do is get up into the original plasterboard. We can hold this little bit of wood down. I mean, we don't really have to put one in here if we don't need to, but you can see that's biting up and pulling the piece of wood down flush.
Just a minute.
It's solid, yeah?
1 minute.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't mind. I'm going to see if I can get one up at an angle here. I'm not sure if that's going to work for us, but we'll try. It's in solid. So look, we've got another one here, and in this case, we've got an old bit of skirting board that was knocking about outside. So exactly the same again. I'm going to slide that up there. I can feel there's a joist right there. So we're in, got the screws, and initially we need to get our finger up around there and put it down so the screw gets a chance to bite in. And I can feel that's bit in. So now to get one in here. You see that wood lift up? Yeah, it's gone in. And that's pulled that down nice and solid with the plasterboard, and they shouldn't be able to bounce around independently of each other. So all we have to do now is cut a bit of plasterboards and fix them up in the regular way. So there we go, look, we're all up quite sturdy. I'm not sure if I mentioned this was the original joist here, so fortunately for us we took advantage of it. The water damage was right on a joint that was already there originally, so these two have gone into the original joist, which is running all the way through the ceiling, and these have gone into our stitches, like so. As you can see, if you give it a bang, it's all nice and solid, and I'm very confident that that will not crack once we get our fibre tape all over it, like so. Okay, so we just got a coat of PVA over everything. And like I say, I'm a PVA user. Now I'm watching this PVA, and it is pulling in, but by watching the PVA after you put it on, gives you an indication how much the walls are going to draw moisture out of your plaster. And I knew from when I first started scraping the Artex, there's hardly going to be any suction in here whatsoever because of the amount of paint there is on the walls in the first place. So we are only PVAing to adhere the plaster and give it a good bond to the painted surface, which is here. So at this point we're going to need to leave it to pick up a little bit. Now some guys like to use SBR as instead of PVA, and we recently did a video about that, and I think through looking through the comments and stuff, I understand why now some people do prefer using SBR because it has slightly different properties to PVA, and I'm looking to do a video in the future addressing that, the two different mentalities of why you should or shouldn't, or why somebody does or doesn't prefer using PVA or SBR. I always prefer PVA, and I'll only use SBR if I actually really have to. And in this case, because there's no suction at all, and that's one of the benefits of SBR, to kill all the suction, PVA is just going to be absolutely perfect in here because the suction's already gone. Okay, so we've got the PVA going on and it's picking up, and whether you put PVA or SBR on this surface, the situation will be the same. We need it to pick up a little bit before we can actually plaster over it. And the ideal thing to go over PVA is when it's actually tacky, but you can let it go a little bit further than you think. So what we're going to do now, whilst we are waiting for that painted surface here to be in a position where it's ready to take a coat of bonding undercoat, we are going to address these areas here, these deep areas which are back to brickwork and these chases and stuff. So we're going to knock up some stiff bonding and we're going to start filling them up and bringing them out to the level. So this is the material we're going to use initially. It's the undercoat, it's the renovating coat bonding. This is going to be better to use than hardwall in this situation because it goes off quicker, goes off harder, it's stickier. So this is the regular bag of bonding, thistle bonding, okay, bonding coat, not to be confused with bonding compound, which is what's used to stick plasterboard. So we've got the regular bag, and then he's also picked up this one. Look, this is a 60-minute one, so sets in 60 minutes. You can skim it in 75 minutes, ideal for chases and for patching, so it goes off even faster. Apparently, it's quite a bit more expensive than the regular bonding. Oh yeah guys, don't forget, I've started up a Facebook group which is public. You can just join to that, just so it's more engaging and people can express themselves a little bit more on there. And I've just been putting up little things to say when the next video's up and stuff like that, and just having conversations on there. It's a bit more engaging, so if you're up for it, just come over to the Facebook group. There's a link to it on the channel at the top of the channel page, not the playlist page, the channel page. If you can't find a link, then just type in Plaster Master Smurf 74, the same as the channel, and I'm sure you'll find it on Facebook. Okay, so as we can see, we've taken the time to put a coat of that 75 minute or 60-minute bonding over the entire ceiling, and we filled the deeper holes in the walls with it. Shade's gone here. You can see on the time it's taken to do that, it has actually like properly set. So yeah, we put a coat of it over the ceiling. What we are going to do now is get the regular bonding and put that over the walls. Now remember, when you start using bonding like this, we kind of knock back into the bucket a couple times. Bonding is very sensitive to dirty water. It will send it off like a rocket. There'll be in some cases where you've used dirty water, you've knocked it back and you've got the first hook fall out and you've gone to put it on the wall or whatever, you go back to your bucket and the bonding has gone off in the bucket. You've got to be really careful. So yeah, if you knock up once, maybe wash the dirty water around, knock up a second time and then clean that bucket right out before you knock up again. So what we did is just knocked the bonding up a little bit wetter, more like a multi-finish, a stiff multi-finish, and I use this 20-inch straight trowel just to trowel it up and use that big trowel as a rule just to take out any undulations. Now, I did mention earlier you could use a flexible trowel. What I meant to say was a flexible rule, you know, one of the rules with the metal blade, but they tend to follow the contours a little bit. So that's what I meant. Taking a flexible trowel to this ceiling and putting bonding on probably be the last thing you want to do. Flexible rule maybe, but we haven't done that. We've just stuck to the larger 20-inch trowel, which is great for straightening out things like this. Okay, so it's literally been about 10 minutes since I put that ceiling on. I knew it was picking up. It's pretty much gone. It's ready to set. That went off in no time. That's because I knocked up into a dirty bucket. I had the residue of the old mix around the outside. Yeah, 75-minute stuff is lethal. Be careful with it. Okay, so the ceiling, the bonding on the ceiling is set. We just flew around, we knocked up a bag and managed to get a bag up all across these walls. The builder forgot beads today, so we've just bonded this in. We'll have to bead that up tomorrow. We've got 2 days to get this. So the ceiling is kind of ready to go. Well, I want these walls to pull in a little bit, so I'm just going to watch them and see how they go. Because ideally what's going to happen is, before we set, I'm going to take my trowel, open it up when this is all gone off hard, and I'm going to scratch this back and take off any high pimples again, similar way as what you would do if you was going over Artex. Just to take off things like this, let you see, and just average it all out. You could go over this with a float, but I think what I'm going to do is PVA this again as well. So what I need everything to do is just go off really hard now. That'd be handy. If you notice, like here, we haven't had to come all the way down because this is where the kitchen units are going to go, all across here and behind here, and we need to complete all this wall, and these pipes are coming out at a later date. So I wouldn't say we've done the bare minimum, but we haven't done anything more than necessary. Okay, so we've knocked up just over a bag in there. The ceiling's gone well. We've given that tight PVA just to help that stick, to be on the safe side. The walls are just about ready. Just about ready. There's quite a bit of wetness to them, but they're setting, so hopefully that will stay behind. So yeah, we're going to get this bag on. We've got 2 days to do this, and we're going to get as far as we can with this, so we've got an easy day tomorrow, because looks like we're going to have to fit in 2 jobs tomorrow. So we're leaving like a morning's work here, and then we can get to another job for the afternoon. Okay, with my Jedi powers, I was able to deduce that was enough to get this ceiling on. This wall all the way borrowing that little corner where the unit's going to go, and the top half of this down to 900 again, where there's going to be a work surface in units. So Shay is just going across the ceiling now and flattening that in. We're still remaining with 20-inch trowels. Because this bonding is quite so fresh, there is a chance that you could get some air bubbles and some pimpling. So it's probably a good idea to let this first coat pick up quite a bit before we put a second coat on there. And that's cool, because we're going to, instead of wait around and sit there, we're going to make sure we flatten all this in and get into a really, really good condition before we put the top coat on. And then it should go on really, really nicely. So here we go, look, this is the kind of pimpling and air bubbles we're getting. We've just literally thrown that on, and I'm about to go around and trowel it up now. And we'll come back to that little point, because there's quite a few air bubbles there, and the light is catching it, so it's really showing up on the camera. Okay, so just been across the walls that we got on, and we're returning back to that spot, and those little pimples are still there. Now, there's no point in touching that anymore. It's still extremely wet, so you can trowel and trowel that. That won't go away until this coat picks up a little bit. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. And what we're trying to achieve at this stage is no major trowel marks anywhere, which is what we have achieved. We've still got this pimply texture coming through. So what we're trying to achieve is making things as flat as possible at this stage, not smooth. But if you do take the time at this stage to make things as flat as you possibly can, then when it does come to coming around to making things smooth, it makes life a lot easier. So the best thing you can do sometimes is nothing at all. So if you keep playing with this, you're going to upset the structure of the plaster, the granules inside it. You'll start bringing the small granules to the top, the bigger granules will start hitting each other, and you'll start making ripples rather than getting them out. So you need to be really efficient, get across, flatten it out, use your trowel, ideally a straight one, like so, not a really curved one. And use your trowel as a rule and straighten things out and try to eliminate all the trowel marks that you might get from the front and the back of your trowel. And then once you've done that, just let it go for a little bit. This is probably in a good enough condition now to leave and not have to touch again until it's picked up, and we can knock up some more plaster and put the second coat on. And as you can see, we ran out of all plaster. We had the exact amount that we needed to get that area on, but I'm going to leave the bucket dirty, and just before we're going to knock up some more plaster, put the second coat on, I'm going to wash this bucket round and I'm going to keep the dirty water and knock up into that so that it speeds up the time of the second set. Okay, we're giving it a few moments, like 10 minutes or so, and it's not kind of ready in my opinion. If we try to put the second coat on this, if there's not enough difference in the two sets, I need this to really pick up and hold itself together. There's still a bit of mottling coming through on the ceiling as well. So we're just going to give this a little bit more time before we put the second coat on. But this is obviously what we've gone over, and this is now set, so I'm quite happy that's what's happened underneath this multi-finish plaster level that we've put on now. So yeah, I'm just going to give it a little bit more time. I did take time to give it another flatten and get all internals really nice and tidy and stuff, so when it does come to put the second coat on, because I flattened it in that second time, it's really going to go on nice and tight, and it should be a pleasure to trowel up. Okay, because we flattened the first coating twice, it's going on really tight. Oh yeah, any ripples and this will flatten out as we go. A tiny amount of gear. Let's see how far it's pushing across. $60 seconds. Picking up a few lumps off the architrave there, but it's really minimal. So there we go, we stayed a little bit later tonight so that we can get an early finish for tomorrow and do a second job in the afternoon. Just for the last trowel, we switched from the carbon steel 20 to the stainless steel flexi Rafina 2. So all we got tomorrow is we've just got to wait for the bead to turn up, and we've got these little bonded panels here. So we've had enough and we're going to go home and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Hi guys, day 2 on that little job. We have been to Wicks. We are currently at the Asda garage at the Twin Bridges roundabout. I do like to show you a few Bracknell petrol stations, service stations. I might start doing a top 10 of Bracknell's petrol stations. This one's quite good. It's little. Sometimes, I mean, it's busy at the moment, but I quite like it because they've got the little Starbucks coffee machine. I prefer that to the Costas, so that's why I come here, and it's just round the corner from Wicks. Right, see you at the job. Okay, so we are back in the job and we have got the beads and we've stuck them up around the window using staples. like usual. Some haven't gone in properly. We're just going to seed them home and just hammer them flat with a hammer because it's hitting that rock hard Artex and bouncing out in places. Some are getting in, some aren't. So the ones that aren't, we're just going to help them out a little bit, and that should hold them quite solid. Although I think it might be worth, because we've got this wall to do and we've got this wall to do. So we might knock up plaster for both, and then first thing we're going to do is start getting some plaster around these beads and start doubling them out, then hit this wall, give this plaster around these beads time to pull in a little bit and hold them a little bit more solid, because the walls are quite wonky and the beads have got, the staples have got it fairly solid, but there is still a little bit of movement in there where the wall's quite undulated and that we need to dub out. It's just nothing unusual on a job like this with that quite heavy Artex that was on there. So we're just giving all this, we've got that little panel there to do, giving all this bonded area really light PVA, just to ensure we get a good adhesion, because we didn't take the time to put a devil float over it and put any key into this. All we did was let it go off dry, and then we took our trowel like so and just scraped it flat. So that's what we're going to do now. Eventually these pipes here are being changed, but see, we didn't come down because that was flat down there to paint the surface with PVA on it. So we're just getting a coat of multi-finish over this little bit of the wall primarily at the same time as we're dubbing out these beads. Okay, so I've got a coat all over this first window wall and it's starting to hold up. Really pushed it into those beads, just straightened everything up. Again with the 20x5 carbon steel trowel. So we're going to let that sit, and hopefully, because we just gave it a light PVA and we bonded this out yesterday, we are going to be using the suction from the bonding coat that was done yesterday, and hopefully this is going to pull in quite quickly for us. Okay, so that bonding coat is going to start drawing the moisture out of it. Although once it's got into that bonding coat, it's going to start hitting that horrible Artex that's underneath it, which looks pretty waterproof. So we're only going to get a certain amount of suction until it hits that level of Artex, and then that bonding coat is then loaded full of water. So initially it's going to put in really quick, and then once that bonding coat is loaded full of water, it's going to sit still again, okay? So that gives us time to get onto these two little panels. Okay, so this is another case here where using a larger trowel sometimes comes in very handy. With a smaller trowel, we can't get down behind these pipes because they're going to be removed. But see, with a larger trowel, look, we can come right down and then through there and totally bypass those pipes. The old back tyre has been holding up for the last couple of days. I haven't had to blow it up at all. Okay guys, so there we go, that's that one out the way. We did just sponge those last couple of walls in. They seem to be hanging for quite a long time, and I just called it and we just got them done a little bit quicker. The time is 12 noon and we need to get over to another job, which conveniently is about 8 minutes away from this job. We're in Sandhurst by the military college that's here. So yeah, it's very military. You can hear the gunfire going off all day, and look like a couple of F-14s or whatever, were fighter jets that were being escorted by something else as well. It just went over a short while ago, which was quite a novel thing to see. So yeah, we're just getting tidied up and we're going to get over to the other job. So guys, if this is the end of this video, thanks for watching, and don't forget about the Facebook group. And if you do want to support the channel, please like and subscribe. I hate to be one of those people, but it makes a difference to the YouTube algorithm. All right guys, take it easy, see you soon.